Good morning, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, whatever it may be for you. Thank you for watching this ever so very important summary of what just went down in Denver County Courtroom 4E. We'll let notifications go out here, and then we're gonna talk about this. Wow. Interesting stuff. Bohika, good morning. How are you? For those of you that are following, and probably most of you are, King Charles. Oh, thank you. I worked hard at it today. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thanks, Grayboa. Yeah, this is not my natural flow of hair. I have naturally very curly hair. Okamo, we got a mod in the house. Hey, Jeannie, how you doing? Good morning. Just had court. The results are fantastic. The case is not dismissed. I'm pretty excited about that, not gonna lie, and I'm gonna tell you why. So the title of this stream is, Brian O'Neill, chief liar for the Denver Police Department. And he is. For whatever reason, this law enforcement agency just can't get their shit organized. We'll call it, organized bargaining to allow a union to continue to, bargain to keep dirty, filthy hog swine, feral hog caca on their force. I don't even know how unions justify this shit. When you have such depraved lunatics with guns and badges and impunity to do horrifically horrible things. I don't know how policing in this country ever thinks they're going to ever gain the trust of the public. It just gets worse by the day, right? I know I'm preaching to the choir. I get all that, but it just, when you're in the thick of it and you're actually witnessing it, you're feeling it, it's happening to you. No, thank you, DJ. Thank you for saying that. The unions have no place in the public sector. None. Zero. Zilch. Private sector, go organize galore. Go unionize galore. But you don't get to use taxpayer money to hide behind closed doors to negotiate filth and laziness and incompetence and no return on investment, guaranteed paychecks, more raises, better benefits. I didn't get any say in that. And so, yeah, thank you for saying that, DJ. So for those of you that are following, you know what's going on here, but bear with me while I recap this, because I think it's important when people pop in and they're trying to understand what's going on and they don't have the full story. So full story here. Sergeant Brian O'Neill for the Denver Police Department, badge number 99025, has arrested me twice. Both of those cases were dismissed. Not the second one, we went to trial and the jury was like, yeah, this is weird, not guilty. He lied numerous times throughout those processes. He is seen on body cam footage getting all excited with being notified at the DPD District 3 substation that Regan Benson was in the lobby recording, and now he gets to go out and arrest her. That case is where a trial took place and a jury said, yeah, not guilty. DPD has repeatedly tried to prosecute me for that crime 3 times for recording in a lobby. Because they think it's a law if they put up a sign and they cite some statute that they can try to twist if they need to, that doesn't allow for recording police in a public lobby. Well, it failed so many times. I guess they finally gave it up, probably because I was suing them. And they took the sign down, right? But in that process, there was this psychotic thing building in this Sergeant O'Neill's head. And somehow I became like consumed by his brain became consumed by me. I have made the public aware how absolutely horrible he is, how dishonorable he is. Thank you, Bokomo. Thank you very much. I have followed public processes to do that. We have this thing in America called the Bill of Rights and the First Amendment, which protects our speech to do those things. And now, according to Brian O'Neill, I can do all those things as far as using the public process. I just can't say his name and some other weird things that he demands that I not do. So Friday, we live streamed. I was pretty hyped up after that, but after having the weekend to really sit and think about this protection order hearing, this civil protection order hearing, that this cop went and sought out against me after he's had his stupid self exposed to the whole world, he continued to double down. Something's wrong. Something's very, very wrong up there. And it's dangerous. And cops have to go through psychological evaluations one time to say they're fit and sound, mentally and physically fit to be a police officer. Sergeant O'Neill in court this morning. Whoa. Somebody probably better be paying attention to cuckoo. Yeah, it's getting pretty weird. It's getting really weird, guys. It's a little concerning. Who needs a protection order against who? Yeah, so anyway, this cop goes and gets this civil protection order filed in a temporary order to begin with, and has me served in his official capacity as a cop, as he's accessed all of my personal information to take that into a civil court proceeding to get a protection order against me for he and his children that I did not know existed. And because I said that before, he used that as testimony this past Friday to say that there is no reason he can get through life feeling like his life and his children's lives aren't at risk. Yeah, he's saying a lot of weird things. A lot of unstable things. For somebody that walks around with a badge and a gun, and is lying through his teeth, bad. Real bad. Yeah. It's reaching maximum velocity here. So he loses that civil protection order hearing, but not before he goes to one Detective Chelsea Novotny, who's also the detective of the criminal case back in September, where I mentioned Sergeant O'Neill's name and some other words like pig roast and guillotine. Remember me? I say it so often. I don't even know how to pronounce it. And then Novotny took all these words and put them together in this summary, in her own summary, and had a warrant issued for my arrest for a live stream outside District 3. Some of you were there. A lot of you were there. And I turned myself in for that arrest, right? That was live streamed. You all saw that. But when I was getting out of jail from that arrest, I was served by the Sheriff's Department this temporary protection order that O'Neill went and filed in uniform, but a civil protection order, not a criminal protection order. You guys all get that, right? There's huge differences. Huge. He was never entitled to a protection order at all. Either was Bell, Commander Bell of District 3. But because Novotny wrote her own summary of things under Title 18, the victim automatically gets a protection order, and that was Commander Bell. But upon my release, my attorney argued that and said, no, you're not going to violate her rights, and she can go to District 3 to do business. She can talk about Commander Bell in his capacity. The only thing that she cannot do is go to his home. Oh, okay. Well, thanks, because I was really signed up to do that. Well, the city wanted me on GPS and all this other bullshit, right? You know why they're doing this, because it has worked in the past on activists or people that are really exposing the bullshit. It's worked before. It's not working anymore. Well, at least it's not working this time, because Regan is not going to put up with that. I have let a lot of things go that I shouldn't have. You can chastise me for that, but I'm busy. I want to try to help people. I also have a personal life. I don't want to be consumed with, fighting the system every day that I'm likely never to prevail in, okay? However, I'm prevailing. I have prevailed. And I'm starting to see some things work. I've got this attorney right now who is just off the charts, total excellence, that has educated me in ways that I would have never been educated, because I'm not an attorney. I don't represent myself. I'm not smarter than attorneys. Maybe some of them. Not all, very few of them. Let's be honest. I'm certainly not smarter than this attorney that I have. So I have to buckle down on this issue, because these cops, all of them in the Denver Police Department, all of administration, all of upper command staff, they're liking this. They're sitting back going, right on. We know O'Neill is the dumbest mofo out here, but we always get away with telling stories, telling lies. We always get away with this. Certainly, he's going to be the martyr for us, right? So they are trying to destroy my life. They are trying to send me to prison, and they are likely trying to end my life. It's for real, because they're sick of Regan Benson. And Regan Benson keeps winning, and she keeps suing, and she keeps winning those lawsuits too. So in a system that's designed to work against us, it's hard to have any trust in any judges. We see very often, more often than not, things not working for justice. But right now, they are. We'll see how long that lasts. I think Marguerite Conboy, the Denver County judge that heard that. Sorry, I'm just trying to figure out if I need to feed the meter. That heard the protection order hearing on Friday, restored some of my faith I wasn't impressed when she initially heard the, well, she never heard the temporary order when I was there, but me watching her preside over all these temporary protection order hearings, it was not very reassuring. But in the actual hearing itself, I saw a judge. I listened to a judge make very good record of some issues. And my attorney, having more time with her this morning, filled me in on everything that was perfect about this past Friday. As we just got done in a hearing where the victim, Brian O'Neill, of the civil protection order, got together with the same detective from the other criminal case, and between the two of them, I don't know how their conversation went, but Miss Chelsea Novotny swore out an affidavit that she bald-faced lied in. I'm sure between her and O'Neill, they are trying to figure out what their story is going to be, because they're in deep shit. They're in deep shit. But here's what's really going to come about all of this. There is no way the city prosecutors are going to allow my attorney to get those cops up on the stand, because they're busted. So Brian was a victim of a temporary protection order hearing violation. He was a victim. I violated the temporary protection order because I went to a District 3 cab meeting and I said things that he didn't like. Quote, "We wouldn't be here today if she had kept my name out of her mouth." Signed, Sergeant Brian O'Neill. Yeah. So we had a hearing today for the victim, and it's set over. Even though the judge and the city prosecutor recognized that the protection order was dismissed on Friday. The temporary did not become permanent, so it was dismissed. But they still want to prosecute me for violating the temporary protection order because of the story that Brian told Chelsea and that Chelsea put on paper and signed her name to. Yeah. So my attorney filed a motion over the weekend telling the city, you better dismiss this. And I'm going to read you that motion because this is really, really important stuff. It may be boring to some of you, but it is important that I read this. It's a little long, so I'll skip through some parts because I am very hopeful that the city wouldn't dismiss this case and we would get these two cops up on the stand. But it's never going to happen. If it does, it'll be some weird ass miracle or some underneath force saying, yeah, we're making this happen. But the city prosecutors for municipal crimes, and this is a municipal crime, their boss is Marley Brodowski. Does anybody know who Marley is? Marley wrote a warrant for me out on the street when I held out in peaceful protest in a tent during a sweep. Marley does not like me. And Marley is in charge of all these city prosecutors. And Marley is pretty shitty, in my opinion. She's a shitbag. She's really horrible at her job because she's sold her soul to the devil. So Marley knows that these cops are pieces of shit, but she's okay with that. So she's never going to allow this case to move forward. This case will be dismissed. This case will be dismissed before this hearing that's set on November 21st in courtroom 4E. Guaranteed. I'm not going to bet my entire life on it, but I'm going to bet most of my life on it. Did the city pursue a protection order today for the victim? No. No. Because they know that they're violating my rights. They're not obligated to dismiss this case yet, since most of the damage is done. Yes, Anonymous, it's set over again. But they're definitely not going to restrict me anymore, because my attorney told them Friday when we went in here to cancel the warrant, you probably should dismiss this right now, city. On the record, I'm giving you an opportunity before this gets more expensive in the 1983 lawsuit. No, they didn't dismiss it, but they immediately canceled that warrant. So this morning, we went to court. Brian O'Neill was subpoenaed before we left court on Friday in the civil proceeding. He was here again in uniform. Yeah, sitting with the fucking prosecutors. Yeah, because he is just that fucking important. Sitting clear over against the wall, so no one watching the court proceedings could see him, because he fears for his life because of Regan Benson and her. These are his words. This is how fucking utterly stupid this human being is. He has no idea how to read simple numbers. He kept referring to my viewers on my YouTube channel as her 23.8 thousand viewers. 23.8 thousand viewers. He said that numerous times Friday. He said so much stupid shit on Friday, I couldn't catalog it all. I am going to get that entire transcript. It's going to be expensive, but we are going to get that transcript. I suspect it's going to be probably in the ballpark of $1,000. What is this? Who's this Made in America? What? She's a coward loser. What are we talking about here? Social Security number. Who is this person? Are we making jokes or? Just FYI, my mods have complete control of this chat. And they're paying attention. And if you come in here to hijack this chat or do you, okay. If you're saying shit that you shouldn't be saying, they're probably going to boot you if they don't give you a warning. Bob, good morning. Thank you very much for that $5 super sticker. Did they let him keep his gun in the courtroom, DJ? Absolutely. Absolutely. Here's the other psycho thing about all of this. He clearly only feels in control with power and authority if he's in uniform. You can watch him, his body language, and clearly the vomit that's coming out of his mouth. This imbecile doesn't get respect. He's one of those that said to himself, I'm going to be a cop, and people are going to respect me. Cuckoo. You know, he comes from family blood in the Denver Police Department. You'll know that, right? And it is fact that his brother, at least from the last bit of knowledge that I have, is also a sergeant over in District 4. You remember District 4. They pulled a lot of the same shit on me. They were the ones that wrote 2 warrants for me for recording in the lobby. Both were dismissed by the DA. Yeah. So I don't know his brother. I've never had contact with his brother. I don't know for a fact if his brother is still a sergeant over in District 4. Last I knew, that's the public information that was available. District 4 sent out a email to all of District 4 officers, everybody in District 4, sent out an email instructing everybody in District 4 that Regan Benson is going to try to bait you into conversation. So you need to immediately call a supervisor. Yeah. They have pulled so much bullshit. It's off the rails, right? This whole Regan Benson is so scary and dangerous. I fear for my life. It's the same bullshit, different day. If they say it enough, it becomes true. Their reality isn't reality. And so it's just not working out for them as they hoped. Regan Benson isn't your average camera person, if you will. Regan Benson isn't your average activist, if you will. Fluke Dog, thank you very, very much. Aw. All you sweet guys, thank you very, very much. And if you, yeah, good to see you too. We need to convene again. Fluke Dog, he's the bomb. He's so knowledgeable. Lives outside of London. Thanks, Scott. I made a super special effort today to tame my hair. I actually was trying to send a message to Sergeant Brian O'Neill that grooming is important. You should have seen him in there. Woo! In uniform, of course. So anyway, back to all of this. Okay, so we've got this Looney Tunes cop that apparently is probably, I'm guessing, not done with pulling some bullshit. I fully expect that he's probably going to go file another protection order. Will the judge allow him to do that again? I don't know. She made it very clear on the record that I was credible. She didn't call him a liar. I really wished, I told you all on Friday, I was pretty pumped after that. I was glad and mad at the same time because the motherfucker belongs in prison for what he's done. Anybody else would have done this, you'd be doing some time in DOC. Yeah, you would. Official oppression, kidnapping, assault. Yeah. So I was pissed more than I was relieved when I left court Friday because I have to clear my name for being violent, for being accused of being violent, and I'm the one under the fucking microscope. And this fucking nasty ass fucking slime fucking feral hog has had his hands on me, thrown me in a cage, fucking we went through the gamut on an arrest. Fucking medical had to get called. I mean, and I'm having to prove that I'm not violent. And to me, somebody should have said to him, like a judge, don't be coming up in my courtroom and fucking lying to me. You're a cop. This system is supposed to have integrity that we judges have to rely on, that you're being honest. You come in here in fucking uniform telling lies. You wrote down fucking lies about this woman. I gave you the benefit of the doubt. Now you're making me look fucking stupid. You're being held in contempt. Get the fuck out of my courtroom. Whatever the max sentence would be for contempt in that courtroom, that's fucking you. Don't you say another word. Get the fuck out of here. That would be me if I was an elected judge. I have the ability and the authority to do that as an elected judge. So why shouldn't I be pissed off and expecting more from this system? Great. She made a lot of great, she made some great record for the future. But for the accountability piece, there is none, right? And that's the thing. That's the thing about this system. You judges want us to trust you, but you trust dirty fucking cops, and they lie all the time. It isn't some anomaly. It doesn't just happen every now and again. It happens a lot. So yeah, do I have a little bit of restored faith because it's working in my favor right now? Sure, but why am I the one being fucking persecuted and prosecuted? I've committed no crime. Well, take it to the courts and let the courts figure it out with what the lying fucking cops have to say. Okay. And how often does that work out? Well, at least here in Denver, you're more likely than not to get a jury that pretty much knows the Denver Police Department is a horrific shit show. Okay? It doesn't have anything to do with liberal, progressive policies and they all hate the police. No, it has to do with people waking up in major metropolitan areas to police corruption. Sure. Are there things that go on that shouldn't? Yeah, but that's what the police are fucking for, is to actually go catch the criminals, not to silence people and their speech, depending on what president is in office. And that's what is going on. O'Neill is so fucking dumb. He's so entrenched in the police always being supported in being right, that if they say it enough and there's enough, high level support for them, which there is right now, because Mayor Johnston is literally throwing every fucking citizen of Denver under the bus with the federal government. And it's not just immigration people, okay? So don't go on this sanctuary city bullshit. This fucking mayor is bought and paid for by Bloomberg. If you pay attention to politics, you know what the fuck is going on. This guy is being groomed for higher office, and he's doing what he's being told to do. That's why he undermined city council on Flock. That's why we now have fucking drones with the Flock contract. That's why the only people that got raises in the city were the police. Yeah, I'm going to stop there because I can't go down this politics rabbit hole. But I'm just super pissed about why we continue to support police corruption. And people are scared. People aren't going to come out and do what I'm doing because they see what the fuck they're doing to me and what it takes to stand up to it. Who is cut out for that? Well, honestly, ask yourself, okay? What can you do to be a part of correcting this bullshit? If you can't hold a camera, if you can't hold the police accountable, do what you can do. Don't ignore it. Don't ignore politics because it's not going to ignore you. This corruption we support when our guy is in office to shut down hate speech and speech we don't like, you're an idiot. If you buy into that, you're an idiot. That's why it's not right versus left. It's us versus them. And we are so divided. So at any rate, I was going to read this motion. Made in America, thank you. You have a great day as well. So today we were back in court for the city to present whether or not they were going to move forward with a protection order, okay, for the victim that is not a victim because the civil protection order got dismissed. This fucking stupid cop thought he was going to teach every other cop how to take care of Regan Benson. So over the weekend, my absolutely brilliant genius attorney filed this motion. Here it is. Motion for veracity hearing and to dismiss this case as a sanction for police misconduct. Regan Benson, through undersigned counsel, respectfully requests that the court conduct a veracity hearing into the affidavit submitted by Detective Chelsea Novotny, which forms the basis for the probable cause finding in this case. Detective Novotny's intentional omission of material facts from her affidavit misled the court and warrants the sanction of dismissal. As grounds, Ms. Benson states the following. Sergeant Brian O'Neill is a sworn law enforcement officer in the city and county of Denver, blah, blah, blah. Defendant Regan Benson is a resident of District 3. She is the executive director of a nonprofit organization that provides direct outreach services to the unhoused population in South Denver, District 3, Inglewood, and Sheridan. Ms. Benson's work frequently brings her into contact with the Denver Police Department, and she is a known and vocal critic of their policies towards the unhoused. Ms. Benson regularly attends community meetings held by the Denver Police Department, including monthly meetings of the Commander Advisory Board held at District 3. For over 5 years, Ms. Benson has hosted a YouTube page. It's been since 2011, but in most recent times, Ms. Benson has hosted a YouTube page where she posts videos, messages, and live streams regarding her work and her advocacy. The description section of her page states, warning, this channel contains rated R language and is not always appropriate for children. If you can't handle that, this channel content is not for you. Cops get cussed out here. Dirty government actors get exposed here. I love the homeless community. They're people too. They have family that loves them, and if they have no one, they need someone to love them. If they're not hurting anyone, leave them alone if you've no help to offer. A society is defined by how it treats its weakest, sickest, and poorest. What do you do when you witness an injustice? What do you do to preserve and persevere in freedom? Government is malevolent. It destroys everything it touches. It seldom does anything right except violate people's rights on the daily. Forced taxation and incarceration for victimless crimes while victimizing victims repeatedly. Just us. That's my channel description. And it's exceptionally important. And it's going to be used a lot in more motions. It's been used a lot in federal court right now, because you don't get to come to my channel and claim that you're a fucking victim. Excuse my language. Don't come to my channel, Brian O'Neill, and claim that you're a victim. The warnings are there. Ms. Benson records her interactions with DPD officers and posts them to her YouTube page for purposes of accountability and transparency. Ms. Benson encourages people who engage with her content to advocate for change by filing complaints with the Denver Police Department, attending public meetings and offering public comment, and donating to various causes. Sergeant O'Neill has appeared on her YouTube channel at least 5 times since 2023. In these videos, Ms. Benson is critical of Sergeant O'Neill and his team of officers, particularly how they treat the unhoused population. Then she links a very defensive Denver PD Sergeant Brian O'Neill. That's a Title 1 video. Then DPD District 3, Getting Stupid. Sergeant Brian O'Neill with his unidentified sidekick Manly Man. She puts the link. Ms. Benson is open and vocal about the fact that she believes Sergeant O'Neill should be fired from the Denver Police Department. On September 25th, 2025, Sergeant Brian O'Neill was granted an ex parte temporary protection order against Regan Benson in Denver County Court Case 25W1237. The order stated, no exceptions, no contact order includes no direct or indirect contact. No internet post to or about petitioner. This includes no contact by a third party to a petitioner respondent is allowed to access police station for business only. If near petitioner on campus, respondent shall stay 10 feet away from petitioner. The September 25th order stated that it expired at the conclusion of the hearing scheduled for October 8th. On October 8th, Ms. Benson appeared in protection order court with undersigned counsel. The presiding officer was Denver County Court Judge Marguerite Conboy. When the matter was called, undersigned counsel tendered to the court and Sergeant O'Neill, who appeared pro se, a 6-page memorandum of law regarding application of the First Amendment in the protection order context, Exhibit A. Ms. Benson indicated that she was prepared to proceed to hearing that day, but Sergeant O'Neill expressed a desire to have time to review the memorandum before proceeding. Judge Conboy agreed to give Sergeant O'Neill 2 days, and the hearing on the permanent protection order was set for October 10th, 2 days later. Given that the September 25th protection order expired that day, Judge Conboy invited argument from the parties on whether any of the restrictions set out in the original protection order should be modified. Counsel noted that Ms. Benson typically attended Commander Advisory Board meetings at District 3, and one was scheduled for that evening. Counsel inquired whether Ms. Benson could attend that meeting. Judge Conboy made it clear that Ms. Benson was permitted to attend the meeting that night. Undersigned counsel also asked for a modification of the protection order to permit Ms. Benson to speak about Sergeant O'Neill at the meeting that night and online. Counsel referenced Ms. Benson's longtime position as an outspoken critic of DPD and Sergeant O'Neill in particular, and argued that prohibiting her from speaking about him and posting about him infringed a core tenet of the First Amendment, the right to criticize public officials. Judge Conboy agreed that Ms. Benson should be entitled to speak critically about Sergeant O'Neill in his capacity as a police officer. At the hearing on October 8th, Judge Conboy modified the terms of the protection order to state, no exceptions, no contact order includes no direct or indirect phone contact with petitioner except in his official capacity as a peace officer, no internet post to or about petitioner except in petitioner's official capacity as a peace officer. This includes no contact by a third party to petitioner. Respondent is allowed to access police station for business only. If near petitioner on campus, respondent shall stay 10 feet away from petitioner. The court provided a copy of the modified protection order to Ms. Benson and Sergeant O'Neill on October 8th. I'm going to tell you, he lied Friday and said he didn't know any of this. He didn't know that's what the protection order said. He also couldn't explain why he didn't show up for the first protection order hearing that he had me served with in the jail. He never showed up, and she dismissed it. You know what his story was? That he had come back the next day because there was something wrong with the filing, so he had come back the next day, and the judge said, we'll see you in a couple weeks. So he left with a piece of paper that said he was supposed to be back on a particular day. He didn't show up because the judge didn't tell him the right date. I would have flipped my lid. If I was the judge, I would have been, get the fuck out of my courtroom. You walked out of here with a fucking piece of paper that told you to be back here. So not only does he not show up and she dismisses it the first time, he fucking comes back and refiles it. And the filing fee is waived for the son of a bitch. Yeah. And then he has me served again by the sheriff's department coming to my fucking house. They knock on the door. They don't want anything to do with me. They don't want to talk to me. The sergeant walks up. He's like, I don't know what's going on. We already served this to you. I was told we had to serve it again today. I said, I'll tell you what's going on. You're doing favors for a dirty fucking cop. And, hey, thanks. Thanks for doing your job this morning. Have a nice day. Yeah, that happened. That really happened. And then we had to start it all over again. Now, Judge Comboy put on the record Friday that, this happens. And, from time to time, if a person says that they missed court and it was just a confusion of the date, I don't want to set a precedent that I shouldn't do this for other people. So if Miss Benson were to come in here and do the same thing, I would have done the same for her. Except you got a cop, woman, a cop in uniform who's supposed to be trustworthy, right? You're supposed to take his word for it. And he doesn't show up to court, and he walked out of there with a piece of paper that said be in court on this day? Ay, ay, ay. So, on October 8th, the protection order was modified. I could go to the meeting, and I could speak. Period. Okay? That evening, on October 8th, we're back to the motion. Miss Benson attended the Commander Advisory meeting at DPD District 3 substation. Miss Benson live streamed her interaction that night on her YouTube channel, beginning when she was getting out of her car at the substation and ending when she got back in her car to leave. See the video titled Denver PD Crackhead Meeting District 3, and there's a link. Now, there's also a footnote. We're going to skip that for now. On October 10th, Sergeant O'Neill reported that Miss Benson violated the protection order by talking about him on her October 8th live stream. 4 days later, Detective Chelsea Novotny swore out an affidavit seeking an arrest warrant for Miss Benson for allegedly violating a protection order. Detective Novotny's affidavit states, on 10/10, at approximately 1400 hours, Denver Police Department Counter Threats Section, it's the threats counter. They have a counter here you can go to. It's titled Threats. Received information regarding the violation of an active protection order that took place on 10/8/25 at approximately 2000 hours at DPD District 3 substation, 1625 University Boulevard. Blah, blah. The victim, Brian O'Neill, related that defendant Regan Benson violated the terms of an active temporary protection order. O'Neill provided a copy of the OCA 25W 1237. That's the first protection order from September. An NCIC CCIC check revealed that the order was issued on 9/26/25. O'Neill, the petitioner, related that Benson posted a live video to her YouTube channel titled Denver PD Crackhead Meeting District 3 as she attended a District 3 community meeting. In the video, Benson continues to record after the conclusion of the official meeting and begins talking in detail about her ongoing court case with Brian O'Neill. To another person that can be seen on camera, it was DMA, Benson continues to speak about the case, specifically naming Brian O'Neill numerous times, speaking about him disparagingly, and lingering at the District 3 substation for approximately 45 minutes after the conclusion of the community meeting. Benson repeatedly refers to O'Neill outside of his official capacity as a peace officer, calling him that bitch O'Neill, that dumb bitch boy, and then proceeds to film herself writing a message on blue tape addressed to Sergeant Brian Crimea River O'Neill to be stuck on the wall of the District 3 lobby. Benson's live stream of this video is publicly available on the internet and was viewed by approximately 1.2 thousand people. Seriously. Hold on. You know, my big channel and all. This video was viewed by approximately 1,200 people. Holy shit. The order stipulates that Benson is allowed to access the police station for business only. And Benson is subject to a no contact order to include no internet posts to or about petitioner. Benson's action, captured by her own video, clearly violate both stipulations as laid out in the temporary protection order 25W1237. Y'all can go watch that video. It's still up on my channel. She left out a whole bunch of facts about what really happened. Now, imagine, if you will, her doing the same thing in the other criminal case where poor Commander Bell is a victim in that case. I mean, Chelsea, is this how you are advancing in your career? As your sergeant approved this and then contacted my other attorney on the first warrant and said, oh, hey, we got a warrant for Regan Benson. The corruption is so fucking deep in this police department. It's unfixable. Okay? So that was Chelsea's sworn statement. On October 15th, Denver County Court Judge Barry Schwartz signed the arrest warrant and ordered that Miss Benson be arrested and held without bail. Detective Novotny also included information suggesting that officers should use caution when executing the arrest warrant for Miss Benson because she is hostile toward police. For those of you that follow police accountability and people that film the police and hold the police accountable, you all know what that's code for, right? I want somebody to put that in the chat. I want to know first who, right off the bat, knows what that means when these are put in warrants. Please put that in a warrant. Put that in the chat. I want to know what you know as to why they put those things in arrest warrants. Put that in here while I go back and read the footnote. On October 10th, the court continued the hearing until October 24th, as Miss Benson was unavailable due to medical concerns. I ended up in the ER at 4:30 in the morning on the day of this hearing, dealing with my medical concerns that they know exist, and they're literally trying to exacerbate those. Because if they do it just right, Regan's probably going to die. Anybody put that in the chat yet? Fab Daddy code for make her pay for being a pig hater. Use force. Yep. No modifications were made to the protection order on October 10th. The only change was its expiration date was extended to October 24th. At the hearing on October 24th, Denver County Court Judge Marguerite Comboy heard testimony from Sergeant O'Neill and Miss Benson and received exhibits including pictures and videos from Miss Benson's YouTube page. Judge Comboy found that Sergeant O'Neill had not shown Miss Benson threatened him when she wrote in chalk outside the District 3 substation, "O'Neill pig roast at Commander Bell's house." Judge Comboy found Miss Benson very credible and held that Miss Benson's speech was protected by the First Amendment, given that all of Miss Benson's conduct was constitutionally protected. Judge Comboy vacated the protective order in its entirety. Yet the city, this morning, still has not dismissed that case for protection order violation. On October 15th, Denver County Court Judge Barry Schwartz signed that warrant. Yeah, that's number 2 in less than a month that Barry has signed. My attorney has given me some things to think about when it comes to giving Barry the benefit of the doubt, even though Barry knows exactly who I am, was very retaliatory in granting an individual that assaulted me a $10 PR bond. Barry, who is also in the press right now for setting low bonds and then actually bailing a woman out of jail. He's being investigated for that. But my attorney wants me to think about some things. I'll think about it. Barry is a piece of shit judge in Denver. He was just reelected. I would never be comfortable being in his courtroom. Luckily, we're not. Even though he signed those warrants, it seems that Barry has been sitting in a closet since August, when this story came to light that he was violating his oath as a judge. Set a dollar bond for a woman and then bailed her out. So, yeah, at any rate, yeah, it's a big club and we're not in it. Thank you. Thank you, Arthur. So, we go on with the motion. Detective Novotny intentionally misled the court by omitting material information for her affidavit for arrest warrant. Detective Novotny's intentional actions taken to mislead this court into issuing an arrest warrant for Regan Benson are incredibly concerning. As the filings in case 25W1237 show, when Miss Benson live streamed herself at the District 3 meeting on the evening of October 8th, the temporary protection order in place was the modified version, entered earlier that day. The modified protection order explicitly allowed Miss Benson to speak about Sergeant O'Neill in his capacity as a police officer, including through posts on the internet. Detective Novotny's affidavit stated only that Miss Benson was subject to protection order entered on September 26th, 2025. She ignores the fact that the September 26th protection order expired on October 8th and was replaced by the modified order in effect at the time of Miss Benson's live stream. Even more troubling is the deceptive manner in which Detective Novotny quoted the language of the modified protection order. Detective Novotny wrote that the protection order said, "No internet post to or about petitioner." But the sentence does not end after petitioner. It goes on to say, except in petitioner's official capacity as a peace officer. The omissions from Detective Novotny's affidavit invalidate the arrest warrant issued in this case, because the decision of a judicial officer asked to issue a warrant is the cornerstone of our constitutional protection against unlawful governmental invasions of privacy, it is of paramount importance that the decision be based on a complete factual predicate. People versus Winden. When an officer misleads the court through omission of material facts known to the affiant, the probable cause finding may be set aside. Omissions that are the product of an intentional effort to mislead the issuing magistrate warrant more severe sanctions. Again, that's People versus Winden, W-I-N-D-E-N, Colorado, 1984. The facts Detective Novotny omitted from her affidavit are material. A fact is material for the purposes of such constitutional inquiry only if its omission rendered the affidavit substantially misleading to the judge who issued the warrant. The omission of the exception language in the protection order was material, as it created the misimpression that any post to or about Sergeant O'Neill was a violation. The failure to reference the amended order entered on October 8th created the false impression that the original order, which did not contain the official capacity exception, remained in effect. So remember, she said she accessed the system? Yeah. Severe sanctions are appropriate because Detective Novotny's decision to omit these material facts was intentional. She swore out the affidavit on October 14th, 6 days after the original order expired, and the modified order was entered. It is clear she was aware of the official capacity exception, as she explicitly referenced her view that Miss Benson referred to Sergeant O'Neill outside of his official capacity as a peace officer. There is no reason for Detective Novotny to include anything about official capacity if she was unaware of the exception. Hey, Chelsea, you're busted, you stupid bitch. You stupid, dumb bitch. Detective Chelsea Novotny of the Denver Police Department. Yeah. Badge number 14. Who's a detective? Miss Benson requests that the court hold a veracity hearing and require Detective Novotny to address her actions in this case. Miss Benson believes dismissal of this action is appropriate given the gross misconduct in this case. Detective Novotny's omissions were prejudicial. If given a complete and accurate picture of what occurred on October 8th, no reasonable judicial officer would have concluded that there was probable cause to believe Miss Benson violated the protection order. At the October 24th, 25 hearing in the protection order matter, Sergeant O'Neill took the position that the temporary protection order should be made permanent because Miss Benson had already violated its terms by talking about him. On her October 8th live stream, he argued that any reference to him at all was a violation of the protection order, but also pointed to the fact that she called him names, including bitch boy, on her live stream. He was particularly offended by the fact that Miss Benson wrote, "I see the need and support the firing of Sergeant Brian Crimea River O'Neill," on a piece of tape and put it up on the wall in District 3. After hearing testimony from Sergeant O'Neill and Miss Benson and receiving into evidence a number of exhibits, including Miss Benson's October 8th live stream at District 3 and photo of the tape on which Miss Benson advocated for Sergeant O'Neill to be fired, Judge Conboy issued a lengthy oral ruling. Judge Comboy stated that her intention in modifying the protection order on October 8th was to ensure that Ms. Benson was allowed to go to all meetings at District 3 and to continue her public advocacy. She noted that Ms. Benson was entitled to speak about Sergeant O'Neill in his official capacity as a police officer, and, having watched the live stream video, found that Ms. Benson's comments about Sergeant O'Neill were within the scope of what she was allowed to say. Moreover, Judge Comboy observed that District 3 had created essentially a public message board in its lobby where it invited the public to comment, and that Miss Benson was entitled to write her thoughts on that wall. Judge Comboy explicitly held, "I do not find that was a violation of my order." Indeed, no reasonable judicial officer who was aware of the language in the protection order allowing Ms. Benson to speak and post about Sergeant O'Neill in his official capacity as a police officer would have found that her actions on October 8th established probable cause for a protection order violation. Ms. Benson's comment that Sergeant O'Neill should be fired is clearly a reference to him in his official capacity that Chelsea left out of her arrest warrant. And her calling him dumb and a bitch boy is plainly protected speech. See Aguilar versus V People, Aguilar v. People, Aguilar v. People, Colorado, 1994. A state cannot prohibit speech in public places merely because it is offensively coarse, even if the speech is repeated and is made with intent to harass, annoy, or alarm. United States v. McKinney. Holding that a statement telling a police officer to go fuck himself was protected speech. Irizarry versus Denver. Yelling, "fuck the police," without any accompanying violence is protected speech. The Denver Police Department itself recognizes that Ms. Benson was entitled to do exactly what she did. In its policy titled Right of the Public to Observe and Record Police Officers, the DPD Operations Manual, and there's a link to it. You guys can Google that. It's publicly available. Recording and or verbal criticism, insults, or name calling may be distracting or offensive, but does not itself justify an officer taking corrective or enforcement action or ordering that recording be stopped. To do so would be an infringement on an individual's right to protected speech. Denver Police Department Operations Manual, it's section 107.02 3B3. In other words, Denver police officers are trained that an officer violates the First Amendment when she takes enforcement action. She writes out an arrest warrant for name calling directed towards a peace officer. They are so busted. They're busted. And I, for once, have taken the steps to work with an attorney to take the time in a general sessions courtroom. For those of you that understand levels of court, this is the lowest. This is like the gutter of let's nail people for anything we can so they don't sue us, right? We're in general sessions municipal court for violation of court orders. And I have an attorney working this hard for me because it is that damn important. Lastly, Detective Novotny's failure to give the court a full and complete factual picture of the protection order in effect at the time of Miss Benson's order, October 8th live stream, misled the court into finding probable cause and issuing the arrest warrant in this case. The warrant should be stricken and the case dismissed. And that is the motion that was accepted for filing today. So as you can imagine, the judge she hasn't had any time to read it, and the city hasn't had any time to review anything. So they're not going to dismiss the case. We're already set for trial in this case with pretrial conference November 21st. And so probably instead of a pretrial conference that day, we'll be having this hearing if the city doesn't dismiss the case, which they're going to, because they're going to be thoroughly embarrassed, and it's going to launch the misdeeds right into federal court. All the other reasons for them dismissing this case. They shouldn't, though. If they were honest people and they were really about justice, not just us, they should want this hearing to happen. These judges should be rallying for this hearing to happen. Does the judge have the authority to not allow the city to dismiss the case? Wait, you brought this before me, and we got all these problems here, and now you want me to grant the dismissal? Inquiring minds want to know what's going to happen on November 21st. They'll dismiss it. They are not going to put 2 cops on the stand and risk a record being made of these cops being flat out busted in their bullshit. This is Brady List shit. This is criminal as far as I'm concerned. What will be the next steps when the city dismisses this case? I don't know. Stay tuned. Because I'm pretty sure I have the best criminal defense attorney who has spent a lot of years of her career dealing with dirty cops. So we'll see where this is going to go after the city inevitably dismisses it. Do you think they're going to dismiss it? I don't think so. Bokomo, thank you very much for continuing to... Do I think they're going to dismiss it? Yes, I do. I'm thinking in my head, are they going to move forward with it? Nah, I don't think so. And even judges. I mean, these are some of the discussions I had with my attorney this morning. She said, I want you to think about these broader implications of what these things mean and what these judges are doing, with the caveat of doesn't make it right. But when are we going to say, okay, honesty needs to work here? And we're supposed to be voting for these judges for that reason. It's justice, not just us, judges. It's justice. And I am exceptionally fortunate. There are thousands more people that aren't as fortunate as me, that aren't going to get justice for these exact things happening to them because they don't know how, they don't have the resources. That is why this fight is huge. I get it. This is gutter level shit. And that's why I've always let it go when it comes to these, at least this fucking dirty ass swine pucker fucker. And I'm not sorry for my language. I should have taken more steps and not let Brian O'Neill get away with what he gotten away with already. But unfortunately, I was dealing with medical stuff. I can't put other things ahead of things that have to be dealt with. Brian, Sargie, you had the chance to walk away from this one too, and you chose not to. You fucking knew better. You woke up a sleeping bear, and you still thought that you were smarter than anyone. You, Brian O'Neill, in your official capacity as a cop, are the dumbest motherfucker I have ever come across in my life. You are stupid. I'm not even sure you have any basic educational skills beyond 5th grade. You have relied on your family name supporting you through gaining respect from the general public by putting on a uniform and walking around with a gun that's, by the way, way too fucking big for your small, tiny ass frame. You look like an idiot. You are an idiot. And Friday, I felt this bad for you. I don't feel bad for you anymore. You're fucking dangerous. I'm the one that needs the fucking protection order. You have done horrible things to people. And I know it. And so do other people. And other people that have watched your body cam footage on my channel. We've seen the way you treat women, especially ones out on the street. You think you're I said Friday, you think you're a king. No, you think you're a god. And here on planet Earth, people that think like that are dangerous. So the whole world knows now, again, how dangerous you are. I knew it, but now it's to the point of what I would describe as lunacy in your career as a police officer. Does that help you? You know, you did give me approval on Friday to talk about you. You remember? Yeah, she could talk about me through IA, and she'd call my boss. She'd call my supervisor. She could have her First Amendment. She could have all that. Remember, you gave me that approval on Friday? Yeah. So I'm going to take you up on it. Because, you're my master. Yeah. Keep it up. Keep it up. Bye, Fab Daddy. Yeah, Christine, hey, yeah, go find a real criminal to play with. He's not going to do that because he's a fucking coward. He's scared. He claims he's not scared in his official capacity. As a cop, he deals with all kinds of bad stuff. But me, he doesn't know what's next. My husband is a little bit upset and a little bit hyper-focused on some of the words that came out of your mouth, Brian O'Neill, Sargie, about you don't know what the next steps are. You don't know where we go from here. You don't know what's next. That's not ringing real good with anybody that's doing well in their mind. So who needs the protection order again? Do you think Regan Benson is going to get a protection order from any police officer anywhere let alone the Denver Police Department. Yeah. So this channel and myself, we do not promote violence against the police. We do not promote that you call government and harass them. We do, however, promote civil redress and redress of your grievances by using process. There's a lot of processes to use to tell your government, we're watching, we see what you're doing, and we don't approve. There's the Office of the Independent Monitor. I would encourage anyone that has concerns about what you just heard in that sworn affidavit and that actual filed motion, which is for public consumption. If you have some concerns about how the Denver Police Department is operating, I would encourage you to file a complaint with the Office of the Independent Monitor. Maybe the mods might have a link to that. I don't know. You can Google it. It's there. That is the most official way to document a paper trail where there is civilian oversight. Now, how much control does that civilian oversight have of the Denver Police Department? They don't have the ability to take action. They have the ability to make suggestions and make things very public and talk about these things in their annual reports. They have some internal processes that take them into executive session discussions behind closed doors. It's built into the charter that they can do that. So if you are concerned about the way the Denver Police Department is operating, you should file a complaint with the Office of the Independent Monitor. Thank you, Atlanta Transparency. Bingo. They would not exist if they could take any action, because the action that would need to be taken would be swift and appropriate, most likely. Substralian alien marsupial boopial. How are you today? He's trying to put this shit on the record that he needs this pretend protection from you to justify being forced to eventually end your life. Right there. Bingo. 110% spot on. He's trying to put this shit on the record that he needs this pretend protection from you to justify being forced to eventually end your life. No, Christine, we don't want them doing that. We do not want O'Neill doing that. No. And no, I did not hear about Travis, Christine. Could you send me an email, please? I don't know. Do you know my email? It's Regan at helpinghandsfordignity.org. A Marxist Tactics old playbook. It is the government's army. The Denver Police Department is Mayor Mike Johnston's army. They don't work for us. Yeah, thank you, Christine. So, how many people can sustain what I've gone through? Probably not many. I'm very lucky. For whatever reason, I'm provided the path and the resources to persevere the issues that seem to matter the most. I have to listen to that. I have to do what is right. Number one, of course, for myself. But how about everyone else? I am into my fellow citizens. I'm not divided, from my fellow man and woman, as a lot of them want to be, and as some of them are from me. I am for the people. I am. So ask yourself today, what can you do to be for the people? If it's helping a homeless individual, please do it. If it's standing up to government, please do it. Thank you, Atlanta Transparency. I appreciate that. When I end this stream, I will pin the link to the Office of the Independent Monitor in the comments. It'll be the pinned link. If you are concerned about how the Denver Police Department is operating, you should file a complaint with the Office of the Independent Monitor. Thanks, Arthur. I think a lot of people think like I do. I think people inherently want the same things I do. All of them? No, absolutely not. There are people on different wavelengths of their definition of freedom, which is unfortunate in some situations, but I don't think people appreciate forced taxation and being forced into giving up their hard-earned money for this level of government. I don't think people are real appreciative of how many people are ending up in homelessness. Well, I know they're not, because most of the general population hate homeless people and take no time to understand why they're in the positions they're in. Things aren't going good in this country. I don't know if anybody's, they're not. They haven't been. They are continuing to go, here's freedom, and here's us on a conveyor belt. I'm older. Maybe I'm forgetting how old I am. And there's a population behind me that's not seeing it because they weren't born into freedom. You know, the more children that are born into this type of government are understanding freedom less, because we're on a really bad trajectory with supporting public education. It's a colossal failure in this country, as we can see with even Sergeant Brian O'Neill, who's almost, I think because he revealed everything about everything on these protection orders, I think the guy's almost 50 years old, and he doesn't have any basic math skills. He doesn't know how to say 23,800, as well as a lot of other vocabulary mishaps and sentence structure mishaps. He doesn't even know how to read numbers. Thanks, Arthur. I do appreciate that. Yeah, they do not know any different. You cannot act on what you do not know. Agreed. So get in the know. Please, people, get in the know. Police are what I consider an after-the-fact appendage. Show up after things happen. Always. Always. One announcement I want to make before I go, and I do need to go. I have not told you all that the Lone Tree Police Department called me, and they found the woman that hit me on I-25. I recorded her on I-25 driving off after she hit me. It was a hit and run. You saw me go to the Lone Tree Police Department, and they didn't do so well. A detective called me within an hour after ending my live stream out in Highlands Ranch, when we were at the substation the other day, doing a live stream out in Douglas County, and I talked about the Lone Tree Police Department. They called me within the hour to tell me that they had found this woman. They didn't give me her name. They gave me her insurance information, which this isn't all that helpful that they're not giving me the police report. So I guess we're going to have to make another jog out to Lone Tree, because I tried to order that police report online and their online system doesn't work. They say you can access this system to get any accident reports. It didn't work. So at any rate, they're saying they found this woman. She, of course, is claiming that I hit her. They only cited her with a municipal charge of leaving the scene of an accident because it's her word against mine. Not one other person called in that day. It was very obvious what was going on I-25, how I survived not getting hit again, how she survived not getting hit again as she stopped dead center in the middle lane on I-25, traffic whipping everywhere. For those of you that know the Denver metro area, it was an act of God that a bigger accident didn't happen in all of that. People saw her hit me. People saw her drive away, and nobody, that's what Lone Tree's claiming, nobody else called to say, hey, I just witnessed this accident. It was a hit and run. Nobody called. Even later, I understand not getting on your phone, try to call 911 on I-25. I get all that. But not a single person called and said, yeah, I saw that hit and run. Don't be that asshole, please. Don't be that fucking asshole. I know the cops are shit. I know. And there's a lot of reasons for why people probably wouldn't want to call. But in case you have the right thing, like when I'm out filming, when I'm in Sheridan, and I see the cops behaving badly, and I give the guy my card, I'm like, hey, here's my name. I got the video. If for some reason you need anything, give me a call. I didn't see everything. I can't make all the assumptions, but I saw what I saw. I saw racial profiling. I saw an illegal search. I saw 2 people in handcuffs, and then the cops release them. Hell yeah, I'll be a witness. Yeah, for police misconduct, you better believe it. The people did nothing wrong. You let them go. There was no reason for any of that. So you get my point. But at any rate, no more rants. You guys, thank you for being in here. Do cell phones go to 911 via the highway patrol? Well, if you call 911 here in Colorado, no, they go to the county and then they dispatch that. We don't have highway patrol here in Colorado. We have the Colorado State Patrol, but our interstates have local jurisdiction. So that's why Lone Tree was the responding agency to that to begin with. So, Arthur, thank you. Keep the heat turned up. Prayers out to you and yours. Thank you all for being in here. We're scheduled. We talked about going to Douglas County tomorrow to public comment at the county commissioners meeting. We'll see how that goes. I'm still counting on going. I got a couple other things that might change that, but we'll see. Thanks, Bokomo. It's all good. We did great today. Thanks for being in here, you guys. And we'll see you again. And yeah, seriously, whoever you pray to, say a prayer for my safety. Because that shit's weird. This shit's weird. Not gonna lie. It's unsettling. And my husband's not feeling real good about stuff. So, yeah. Number 1, stay safe. Thanks, DJ. Thanks, Bokomo. Appreciate you guys. Thank you for those super chats, super stickers. Donate to the nonprofit if you can. Supposed to get down to 30 tonight, and we're supposed to be in the low 20s tomorrow night. So I gotta go get all the hand warmers, and so lots to do. If you could donate to the nonprofit, please.